The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Real Pickles, a worker-owned cooperative in Greenfield producing organic fermented vegetables sourced from Northeast farms. More information at realpickles.com. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by UMass Amherst School of Public Policy. Admissions now open for graduate programs in 2025. Learn how to become a changemaker at umass.edu/SPP.
Welcome to the Fabulous 413. I'm Khalees Smith.
And I'm Monty Belmonte. Later in the show, rainbows galore, with folks from the Rainbow Players Theater Ensemble who've been performing social justice-based improvisational devised theater for just over 25 years and will be bringing the community together on UMass campus on Sunday for their gala and fashion show.
More rainbows will be happening in Northampton on Saturday at Hampshire Pride, and we'll talk with organizers Clay Pearson and River Matos about this earliest of celebrations for the LGBTQIA plus community, or two quilt bags, which is a much easier anagram for all of us.
Two quilt bags. But first, maybe aliens.
That is a wicked big maybe that I think will need Mr. Universe's help to understand the nuances thereof.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Back at the Amherst kitchen table of Hampshire College astronomer Dr. Salman Hamid, Mr. Universe, the head of Kainat Studios, who, when we last spoke, helped us commandeer a galaxy for the 413. Hooray! We have our own day and our own galaxy.
NGC 413.
NGC 413 is the name of it, so go look it up. It's ours now in the Salman International Galaxy Registry. The other exciting news story that came out just in the middle of last week is that we found aliens.
And that's the reason I'm wearing a shirt with UFO on it.
It looks like a flying saucer painted in a Van Gogh style, but it says Believe and New Mexico. I've been to Roswell. You've been to Roswell too, right?
Yes.
I didn't see anything.
You didn't see Van Gogh?
I didn't see Van Gogh or aliens.
All right, so there is a big story that came out. It was in the New York Times as well, and it was covered at other places. The story was about an exoplanet. So these are planets orbiting around other stars. There is a particular exoplanet which is numbered K2-18b.
Bingo!
Exactly. And so that K2-18b, it's about that star is a smaller star than our sun. Those are called red dwarfs, but those are the most common stars in the universe, much more common than our own sun. And there is a planet that we know that orbits around it. It's a planet that is bigger than the Earth. It's about 8 times or 9 times more massive, 2.5 times bigger in radius. So those are called like mini Neptunes.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
This category of planets does not exist in our own solar system. Mm-hmm. These type of planets, astronomers are finding in other solar systems, but we don't have it. So in this particular case, this planet is orbiting its star at a distance which astronomers call a habitable zone. It takes 33 days for this planet to go around its star, but because the star is a little bit cooler than our sun, it is at a distance where water can stay in liquid form. So it was
not too hot, not too cold.
And it was just right.
The Goldilocks zone.
That's exactly right. And so there was already interest in there that, hey, okay, so this is orbiting in a interesting, or what astronomers look for, something like, that, hey, water can be in liquid form. It doesn't mean that it does, but there's a possibility. So it's in the habitable zone. And we knew that it has a thick atmosphere, or a puffy atmosphere. Now, this is crucial because it was detected by Kepler Space Telescope, and the way many of them, or majority of the planets that have been discovered, by the way, close to 6,000 planets now, 6,000 exoplanets, but a majority of them have been detected when a planet goes in front of its star. Starlight dips, and we say, it must be a planet out
Because you
there.
monitor it, you can see how long its year is. It comes back regularly. Once you can predict, it's 33 days. It's going to dip again in 33 days. It does. They say, confirmed, exoplanet.
That's how you confirm it. And so this is called eclipsing method, because the planet is actually eclipsing the star. But here is the cool thing. In many cases, when the planet goes in front of the star, you have the ability to potentially look at starlight that is passing through the atmosphere of the planet. Mm-hmm. So this is the starlight that we are seeing. Some of the light gets absorbed by certain molecules. Those molecules are in the atmosphere of the planet. And you can actually tell sort of like, what is in the atmosphere.
Because of the color, right? Spectroscopy. Because different gases look different colors in different lights. And this is part of science. They look the same through the light on this planet as they would on a planet that's how far away is this?
This is about 120 light years away.
So if they see the color on this planet, they say, aha, this is this molecule. But then they see the same color on that planet 120 light years away, same molecule.
And more than a color, you can actually look at a particular pattern in light. So that's where spectrum comes in, that's where spectroscopy comes in. And these molecules have particular absorption signatures, meaning to say they absorb light in a particular way, and you can say, aha, this must be this molecule in there. So for example, in this particular case, carbon dioxide had been detected in the atmosphere of this planet. And it was interesting, and there was a debate going on because a lot of that stuff now you can do that with James Webb Space Telescope. James Webb Space Telescope is designed in many ways to do measurements like this. And there was detection, and there was a claim that perhaps there is a liquid water ocean on the surface. And it was dubbed as a High-Cean world or High-Cean world, hydrogen and ocean.
Not high C, the old fruit drink.
No.
That would be awesome too if a planet was made out of just like a sun-kissed planet. Sunny D.
Here you go. Here's your corporate sponsorship for NEPM.
Look at the beautiful Capri Sun.
Respect the pouch! Respect it!
So there was this interest in there because if there is ocean there and then there is this thick atmosphere and it's in the habitable zone, maybe there might be life over there. This is a long way to come to the actual story why this particular system was in the news. New York Times made a story written by Carl Zimmer, who is a biologist who actually writes very well, especially in terms of thinking about biology and stuff like that. And the article talked about a new paper that came out by a researcher at Cambridge University. It was a study led by a researcher, Niku Madhusudan. And they claimed to have detected a particular molecule, which is considered a biosignature. So remember, we cannot go there. All we can look at is what's in the atmosphere. And one of the claims in that paper was that they have detected dimethyl sulfide, or in short, DMS. And the detection was important because this particular molecule in the Earth's atmosphere is only produced by phytoplankton or algae in the oceans. And so if we see dimethyl sulfide, and this is the claim in the paper, in another exoplanet's atmosphere, it might be an early sign. You can think about maybe there is some sort of life maybe there because on Earth, dimethyl sulfide in the atmosphere is only produced by life.
Dimethyl sulfide, DMS, only produced by algae or life on this planet. So this planet, 120 light years away, DMs us.
That's right.
Hey, I'm alive. What are you doing tonight? Slide into my DMs, DMS.
It's okay, he already in my DM.
Okay, did not think about that, but yeah, it is possible. But here is the problem. This became a huge news, as you can imagine. And to be honest, we have talked about it. Detection of life, even if it's microbial, is going to be one of the biggest discoveries of humanity. And so this is a reminder that somebody has made a claim, but unlike UFO claims, unlike UAP claims, whatever you want to call it, how science actually works. In this particular paper, they did say that their detection level is a little bit less. So, for example, it's what's called a 3 sigma result. There is still a 0.3% chance of this observation to be a fluke. And which is, for science, for astronomers, it's actually a pretty high level of uncertainty because you want what astronomers call a 5 sigma, where it goes to about 1 million chance of being wrong. And so in the last week and a half or 2 weeks since this story actually started to come out, there have been other people who are looking at the results, and there is a lot of pushback that is coming in. And in fact, I would say this is a beautiful example of how cutting-edge science happens. People who are challenging these interpretations of these results are not people who say, there is no life in the universe. Everybody thinks that, it would be an amazing thing if we do find life. Even if somebody else finds life, I think everybody believes that this would be really cool. But when you have such a big claim, you have to be skeptical about what is being claimed and are there alternative explanations to that. And this is exactly what's playing out. And in fact, now there are other groups that are claiming that, well, this particular claim may not be as strong as it was initially made.
So that's a little bit of a bummer, but this goes to show you how science works. You can be as skeptical as you want about anything, even if you run major departments in the United States government. But when all sorts of people come out with all sorts of studies, you have to believe it, even if it counters your hope.
Right, and so it's wishful thinking doesn't take you anywhere. What is there is there. So in this particular case, what's going on is, I actually recently talked to a Sagan postdoctoral fellow, Ryan McDonald. Actually, if you go on Kainat English, you can actually find this 20-minute conversation with him. He actually works on exoplanets and is critical of these results. And one of the things that came out of that was, first of all, the 3 sigma result. And remember, we do not have a comparable example in our solar system.
Right.
What kind of combinations of gases are going to provide signatures that you are seeing from the starlight passing through the atmosphere of a planet 120 light years away? This is not an easy thing to do. Like, maybe there are other kinds of gases that can produce a similar type of signature, and maybe it is not being produced by dimethyl sulfide. So that is one, and that's where the 5 sigma really high-end result is crucial, which we are not there yet. The second thing that say is that, well, there is also a debate whether there is an ocean there or not. So even if you detect, say, for example, a particular molecule which on Earth is produced by life, first of all, you have to know, well, is it produced someplace else without biology? And as it turns out, yes, because dimethyl sulfide has also been observed in comets, for example, where there was no life, and yet it is there. So you have to say, okay, all right, but what about the ocean? Well, there is also a debate whether what you see can be explained by, for example, a magma ocean rather than liquid water ocean. So if you put all of these things together, so you cannot just use one molecule, for example, to claim that it's a biosignature. Well, it may be a biosignature, but what is the surrounding context in which that is being produced? And so this is still early, but the concern is, as you mentioned, this is how science works. This is how pushback comes in. A couple of days ago is when the data became public. So now other research groups are going to look at this same data and analyze them in other ways and test it out whether dimethyl sulfide is really there or not. So that's where cool science part comes in, is that somebody says, well, hey, this is a really cool potential detection of life. And other people say, really? Let me double check it. I think it may not be the case, but we may find out in the next couple of years maybe, because I'm pretty sure there is going to be more time on James Webb Space Telescope to observe this planet, because it is interesting. There is no question about it that this is an interesting system. They will get more time to really isolate not just dimethyl sulfide, but are there other molecules that, if there is life, they may also be present over there, and their absence may be puzzling. But if they come out to be that, yes, those are also present, then it could be like, hey, we can still not say there is definitely life over there, but we can certainly say, now this is really interesting. But we are quite far from that point. And the problem is that most of the newspapers, the way they reported, most of the media that they reported was like, we might have detected life. And that's the problem of bad science, because we are way far off, and there are only so many times that we can claim we have detected life.
Right.
And we always bring back to it, because in 413 we are much more skeptical about UAPs and UFOs than the New York Times is, for example. Just look at the carefulness, look at the challenges that comes in, and then compare those to, for example, some of the congressional hearings on UAPs, where somebody comes in and says, I've seen alien bodies. Have you seen it? It's like, no, but I know many people who have seen it who I trust.
Yeah.
And then there is a whole congressional hearing about that, and that is even before the current administration. So I think this is a good lesson in how to think about science, how to think about these things, that you have to test those claims, and this is becoming more and more important. And this is not just about astronomy, but also biology or health issues and other things.
Or any political issue ever. Yes, it gets more and more difficult, but keep skeptical, keep checking your sources, keep cross-referencing, It's the scientific method.
And be honest about it. There is nothing wrong in being excited about the possibility. But the more you want to believe, the more you should be skeptical.
And now for more colorful existences that can be seen right here in Asparagus Valley. We'll hear about the events of Hampshire Pride next.
Followed by a fashionable experience in theater based in Equity as we speak with folks from the Rainbow Players about their upcoming gala and fashion show at UMass.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Northeast Solar, helping customers make the switch to solar for savings, energy security, and tax incentives. Learn more at northeast-solar.com. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Window World of Western Mass, a local family business with experienced craftsmen offering vinyl, composite, and James Hardie siding. windowworldofwesternma.com.
I was just like, oh, you know, when you sit down at the fancy restaurant, you don't know if you're supposed to take the fork on the left or the right.
You start from the outside and you work your way in.
Yeah, I
Is that the
typically
rule?
do that.
That's the
yes.
rule.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
And
it's the
then
left or the right.
if anything comes with a plate above, usually it will come with its own. It's got its own silverware above your plate. So same thing. You always work from the outside in.
Culinary tips with Khalees. All part of Hampshire Pride.
Hampshire Pride.
Oh my God, I
Finishing
don't-
school for young women.
Hampshire prides itself on knowing which is the soup spoon.
I mean,
Have we got a dish for
like,
you?
if I'd known that etiquette tips would get me better girlfriends, I would have offered a class.
There you go.
They didn't get me any.
No guarantees.
I could eat that girl for lunch. Yeah, she did.
Hampshire Pride is this Saturday, May the 3rd, and here to tell us all about it are two of the organizers, River Matos and Clay Pearson.
Clay, we must address your shoes, which
Of
was the
course.
first thing that I saw when I gathered you from the green room, both. Tell us about your shoes today.
Of course, it is tradition that I wear some sort of stiletto for you all. And this afternoon, I've got on a pair of red patent leather 7-inch stilettos. They're giving a little homage to Pee Wee Herman in my gray suit.
Oh, yeah, the gray suit. I love
Yes.
this.
I love so much.
I can't wait to see that new Pee Wee documentary. But I will say that if you want to see a celebration of queer joy, every year, watch the Pee Wee's Playhouse
Yes.
Christmas special. It is
Definitely.
so amazing.
Also, Grace Jones, you know, that's a
Every queer
that we
icon
have
is
to
it.
pick
Grace
on that.
Jones, Charo, Cher.
That was Cher. Cher was right there, in the same room as my chair. I hope I didn't stare. Oh well, I don't care.
I don't know how I didn't recognize it as gay when I watched it as a child, but I guess wasn't.
Because children don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. And now when you grow up, you're like, this was always a celebration of this. I love your homage to Pee Wee right now.
Yes, thank you.
This is the first Pride celebration in the area because Northampton does Pride early.
Yes, it's a tradition. So just to give some history in the background of it, Hampshire Pride has been around since 1982, and it was in response to some, let's say, gay bans of 1981. And it was May 15th, so it was like the third Saturday of the month that year, but it became first Saturday after that. And we predate Pride being in June. So when everybody says, why are you doing it in May? And I said, well, why didn't you start doing it in May? We did it first. So, yeah, it's great to continue the tradition. You know, different Pride organizations have come and gone in the Northampton area, and I'm the one, I co-founded the one that started up post-pandemic, and when that was a little bit of a troubling time, I said, we need to do this, and got a bunch of people together, and here we are on our year 3.
I'm just going to get this out of my system, and then I'll ask a real question. So how are those troubling times doing?
It's right back to troubling.
Hooray!
And Pride, in my opinion, fluctuates between celebration and protest. And last year was nice because we had things going in our favor and happiness abound, etc. And this year is much less nice, let's say politically speaking. So with that said, we have to kind of swing the pendulum back and go a little bit less celebration, but also, you know, positive change. And so that's the reason why we've gotten Northampton Resists involved in our Pride Rally as our kickoff. And so I don't know if you've heard about it, but this is a group that just started up this last year, and they've been doing resist rallies in the city of Northampton proper.
Mm-hmm. So, River, tell us about some of the other folks that are becoming maybe on the more advocacy end of things for this Pride celebration on Saturday.
So we have Lorelai coming to speak.
Cool.
So Lorelai will be speaking between 1 and 2. I'm really excited to see her. I believe it was the first Hampshire Pride that I first saw her speak. I'd never heard of her before. I met her and I was instantly taken. She is such a presence, and I'm really looking forward to hearing her speak again.
For those who don't know Lorelai, do tell.
Lorelai is a trans woman who has bright pink hair and has had an array of experiences and has all sorts of advocacy work under her belt, and just is able to tell a compelling story around how gay and trans rights over the decades have unfolded, and be shoulders, to stand on to produce the next level of gay and trans rights for the future.
And it's a fixture in Northampton for sure.
And if I'm not mistaken, was Miss Trans Massachusetts for a couple years running.
That's right.
Yeah,
I forgot
yes,
all
I
about that.
agree.
And I remember they
I don't
hosted it
remember
at the
the year.
Academy of Music. And there was a lot of glitter after that.
So
It's hard to get rid of the glitter.
it's probably still there. Such is the nature of glitter.
We do have other entertainment that's happening. So that's just the kickoff. We've got 2 separate stages. One is the drag stage and one is our main stage.
Yeah, we're going to be kicking off our drag stage with a drag story time at 1:30. It's going to be super cute. I'm so excited to see all the kids. And we're going to have some coloring and activities for them. And they'll also be able to take pictures with the queens in a photo booth. Queens and kings and things.
There we go.
I love that. I'm going to steal that.
Yeah, and then the other drag performances start at 2. And then, there's going to be regular entertainment on the main stage, bands and singers. My friend Deanna is going to be singing at the end from 5 to 6. I'm excited to see her sing.
Who else is doing music at this?
We've got Indy's going to be.
Woo,
yes,
we love
I
Indy.
see that smile. Of course we do. And we also have the Queer Joy Chorus, as well as the Expandable Brass Band.
Nice.
And then Cinnabon and Eris Electra are also going to be playing there. And then we've got DJ Foul Play, who's going to be kind of getting the party started when everybody enters the area.
Nice.
Let's talk about the parade and then the area.
Yes,
So where does the parade kick off from and go to?
We start our parade at Shelton Field, which is at the intersection of Main Street or Bridge Street at that point,
Yep.
and Old Ferry Road. Ferry like the boat, not like me.
For people from Massachusetts, pronounce
Ferry,
ferry, and ferry.
Ferry,
Different words.
and fairy.
Although I grew up not knowing that queer was queer because of the Boston accent. Yeah, I was like, wow, I'm a full-grown adult before I realized that was the same word.
But you can park anywhere downtown. That's where the vast majority of the parade viewership is going to be. So anywhere between Crafts Ave and Old Ferry is our parade route. And then the parade ends at the bottom of the hill on Crafts Ave, and that's where we kind of send off the floats to the right, and all the walkers are going to go right into the festival, which is behind Thorns Marketplace in the Armory Street parking lot near the Northampton parking garage. So that's where all of our vendors are going to be. I think we have 130 vendor spots this year.
Whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah, it was only 100 last year, so we're amping it up and squeezing everything in as tight as possible, finding nooks and crannies to put more places, and it's been a lot of still growth in even in the 3rd year. But the beauty is there's the whole parking garage structure, and people go into the parking garage to get 2nd and 3rd floor seating to go and see this. And it's like a little Globe Theater.
Honestly, the view from up there is so much better. I went up there for a few hours last year, and I got some really good pictures and video that I definitely would not have been able to get in the middle of the crowd on ground level.
And it's shaded.
Yes, that's
that
the other thing.
too.
And we're talking with 2 of the organizers of Hampshire Pride, which the parade is this Saturday. I always love to compare and contrast with the first Pride marches you were mentioning, where there were people marching with bags on their heads because they were afraid that they wanted to stand up for their rights, but they were school teachers and afraid they were going to lose their job. And the ACLU got involved, and my friend Bill Newman and many people that are still involved in this. Contrast that with who will be coming to be in the parade now. It's like every manner of school group, and my Kung Fu school will be there marching in the parade. So many different organizations and groups.
Yeah, there's always a great debate over whether Pride should be a protest or a celebration, and whether it should be focused on the queer folk or if it's the allies as well. And the world is more and more diverse. In the 80s, when this all started, having a queer family that wasn't just purely chosen family was strange. And now, with IVF, hopefully that sticks around for a bit, and with adoption capabilities of gay and queer couples, as well as other mechanisms to have families grow and be created through bi and pan and other individuals, as well as the whole trans side of things. These families are not necessarily more heteronormative, but they start to look like traditional families in the sense that they have parents and children. And so more children are coming to this parade because their queer parents are bringing them, or they are queer children themselves. And a lot of GSAs are getting involved from local schools all over.
Gay Straight Alliances.
Yeah, sorry, GSA, Gay Straight Alliance. It's about inclusivity and making sure that everybody gets to be involved in this and showcase that even if you are an ally, you are important to this movement as well. Because if we don't have allies with us to elect proper politicians or to push proper legislation and make it a popular belief, then if the queer group is the minority, we're not going to get a lot of places. So it's really about inclusivity.
Organization-wise, we've been talking to you about your incarnation of the Hampshire Pride Parade this is our third time talking to you about it. What has gotten easier and what has gotten more difficult about organizing this?
Well, I think the first time that you met me, we put together Pride in 9 weeks.
Right.
Under a little bit of, let's say, duress. The prior organization dissolved in January, and we didn't know if it was fully dissolved or not until the end of February. And I said, March 1st, ripping this Band-Aid off, and we did it in 9 weeks from March 1st until May, whatever that was, 6th, I believe. And the issue that we have had since then is now we know what we're doing. However, on the back end of it, we know what we can do and what we can't, and we have to make sure that we can expand as best as possible. So there's always people that are going to, let's say, detract and say, we could have done it this way or that way. But it's definitely a balancing game with so many letters in the alphabet mafia of LGBTQIA+, all having a little bit of different flavor of what they want. And so it's been interesting trying to balance all that.
What's your experience, Ben River, and what's your bailiwick when it comes to this parade? What are you excited about?
So my role when it comes to the parade is helping to train and provide the Peacekeeper volunteers that are going to be marching along, just making sure everything runs smoothly, everybody's staying safe. So I've reached out to Coach Tim with New City Jiu-Jitsu in East Hampton, and we're going to be going there to train the Peacekeepers in some basic self-defense, but mostly we're focused on non-confrontational de-escalation. So I got to make a training video this year for for the Peacekeepers, which was fun and interesting.
Everybody's safety is always an important part of this. One of the reasons we do this is to become more visible so that there is more safety for us writ large. But in a year where there has been so much rhetoric and so much noise about and against the queer community at large, do you anticipate there being more need for folks to be really trained and really on top of it for this particular Pride?
Yeah, honestly, I've been more worried about that this year than any other year, and not just for Hampshire Pride. Any of the other prides that I've gone to, this one feels the most risky to me, just because, you've been seeing the uptick of hate, especially online.
Has any of it been directed to Hampshire Pride particularly, or just in general?
In general, I haven't seen any bigoted or hateful posts or comments or anything on socials, thankfully.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really want to make sure that everyone knows what they're doing when it comes to safety.
Yes, definitely. You got to be prepared. I once grew up as a Boy Scout, so, on my honor, I'll do my best to do my duty. But yeah, we've got a multi-tiered response. So we also have the Parasol Patrol group, and so they are known for having these rainbow umbrellas and rainbow, let's say, blankets, and they are there to protect children and shield children from hate. So what their role is to march right in front of all the school groups, which we've kind of tried to clump together in the parade. So just in case there is something that's gross and they don't need to be seeing that, they can either protect and shield the children from the individuals or just surround the individual and just block them out. There's a multi-level of, response to it. It's really important to make sure safety is paramount to this event.
Also Parasol.
Yes,
to this event. Yeah.
Outside of the national rhetoric, there's also been a weird flux of queer spaces in Northampton proper and in Hampshire County, I feel like. Talk about where Pride sits, especially considering that disillusion and movement of openly queer, friendly, and comforting spaces.
It's definitely been tricky this year. Last year and the years before, we had, the Majestic or, similar spaces where we could all kind of gather. And with everything kind of off the rails now, Majestic is gone. May she rest in peace. Yeah, it was tricky. One of the first things I asked Clay this year was, where are we going to meet? Where are we going to have our volunteer meetings? How are we going to get together? Whatever are we going to do? Yeah, so it's been a little trickier. It kind of feels like our community is a little scattered to the winds right now, and I'm really hoping that everyone can come back together for Pride, especially in the climate right now. I feel like a lot of people, when things are scary and fearful, they tend to pull away from joy or feel like maybe we shouldn't be celebrating right now. And I think what we do need right now is community and joy. Joy is one of the things that they can't take from us. And joy is resistance. Community is resistance. And so I hope everyone comes back together for this.
We definitely need a lot more joy and whimsy. Whimsy is the other one that I've been requesting. When people ask, oh, what can I do in the parade? And I said, we need joy and whimsy.
Bring one or the other.
Bring both.
I remember once upon a time, and I requested that they do this year, and we'll see. But the River Valley Co-op used to come in with their aprons on and their shopping carts from the grocery store.
They're stealing your thunder.
And
I know, right?
They would just zip around, and they had choreographed dances with the shopping carts, and their aprons were twirling. We need more of that. And one of our biggest sponsors this year, East Baking Co. out of Holyoke, is going to be throwing out bags of breadsticks to everybody. And they're like one of the last floats in the thing. And so I was like, you have to show me how big is this bag of breadsticks I'm throwing. I need to make sure we're not going to hand out black eyes. No, but they're the doughy.
We'll have a medical tent in case anyone takes a breadstick to the face.
Not good for the gluten-free, but good to free gluten.
Yes. I definitely got to sample some of them, and they're quite delicious. So, just there needs to be more silliness to combat the, darkness that is unfortunately around us.
Are there other events surrounding the Pride Parade, which begins at 11 on Saturday, May 3rd, and goes through downtown Northampton? There will be a little rally event and vendors at the Armory Street parking lot. Clay Pearson and River Matos from Hampshire Pride.
Yeah, so we were going to have a bar crawl afterwards, and so there's going to be an array of bars that are going to be joining, and you can go around and collect different color wristbands to show how many you've been to, and then I'm going to go around and do the Queen's Wave and hand out some free T-shirts to whoever has the most variety of colors of the rainbow on their wrist at any of the given places as I zigzag across town once I've cleared up the vendor area.
Right on. After which you will deserve a drink. You will have earned it.
I'll take my shoes off for a brief moment and have an appetizer at one of our stops. Let my feet cool off and stop swelling, and then put them back on and keep on going.
And a quick reminder to everybody involved in the bar crawl: pace yourselves.
Pace yourself.
Yes. There's also appetizers and restaurants as well that are involved in this. So you don't need to get a drink at every place, but there's some fun to be had at all of them with drag shows and DJs and food and drink as well.
River Matos and Clay Pearson, two of the organizers of Hampshire Pride, which returns once again. I think it is really, I don't like to play favorites, but for Northampton, it really is one of the greatest days of the calendar year when the community gets together for Pride. Thank you so much for bringing it back for all of us who were missing it after it went away. And congratulations on doing this for the third time.
Yes.
Thank you.
And
Thank
many
you so
more.
much.
And who doesn't want a little extra pride? I mean, it's bonus pride.
It's the kickoff.
Exactly.
The first Pride. And you can find out all the details at HampshirePrideMA.com. Thanks to both of you. Need more rainbows?
Well, you're in luck because we'll talk with the Rainbow Players about their upcoming gala and fashion show and more next.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by the Handle Factory Community Clay Studio in Shelburne Falls, offering youth summer programs and spring adult classes in pottery and sculpture. HandleFactory.com. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Eastworks, 4 floors of makers, artists, and entrepreneurs located in the Mill District in East Hampton, where community happens. Learn more at eastworks.com.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. This Sunday, May 4th, Edda Arts and the Rainbow Players present Shine, a celebration of brilliance, fashion, show, and gala with the Rainbow Players and Edda Arts. This unforgettable event combines style and purpose, featuring stunning runway displays, a silent auction, and exclusive gifts and services, all while supporting Edda's mission with the collective efforts of community partners.
The Rainbow Players have been making improvisational, devised theater that tells the story of people with lived experiences of disability labels in their own words since 1999. The troupe is rooted in the style and forms taught by Augusto Boal, Theater of the Oppressed and Rainbow of Desire, and the gala and fashion show are just one of the many events they're doing in honor of their 25th year.
Edda stands for empowerment through the arts, and as a nonprofit, utilizes the medium of the arts as a way of overcoming barriers to creative actualization and universal participation. Edda International emerged from the need for the Rainbow Players to have a support organization able to raise funds so they could operate.
With us to talk about the gala, the fashion show, the organization themselves, the artistic director and founder Azel Floranina, and company members Wole Abiodun and Jay Lithgow. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Congratulations on 25 years.
Yeah, I have a few gray hairs for it.
Tell us about the genesis of this, Azel.
Well, the program began through Amherst Leisure Services back in '96 through a grant called the Open Arms Project. And that was to create partnerships or mentor relationships with people who were peers. It was called Open Arms, a peer support project. So we worked with adults in the community in high school. And that's where I met Wole. And Jay and Wole are about the same age, and I met them. Jay joined us much later. Wole joined by choice when I went and visited the high school.
Very cool.
And yeah, then the program got written out of the budget in 2006. Economic downturn.
Yes. Wole, what do you remember about the beginning of this?
I was a little nervous, but in the past, I still got it, and then I came in the group.
Yeah.
And I just had fun.
That's great.
So.
Yeah, and in fact, I'll just have to do some praise report here. Wole is like one of the best improvers we've got. And we've gotten to perform with what used to be the Ha-Has, which is now Happier Valley.
We know them well.
We've done some shows with them in the past at Mount Holyoke, and Wole can go side by side with any of them. He watches Whose Line Is It Anyway?
That's what got me in love with improv when I was a kid, and then I did it in college too. So yeah. That's a great introduction to that medium. Yeah. And you've been doing it the whole time this has been running, right?
Yeah.
That's great.
I watch the Whose Line anyways on weekdays and then sometimes on weekends.
Nice.
Late weekends.
Do you like the American version?
Craig.
Or the English version?
The
one from England or the one from the United States? There's 2 versions.
I like both.
Yeah, me too. But I grew up on the UK version of it.
Yeah. I've seen that one live.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was one of the things I got to see at the Edinburgh Fringe.
Very nice. Our other performer here is Jay Lithgow, and we knew how to properly pronounce your last name. And you have a performance in your lineage. You are a performer who is related to whom?
Yeah, to John Lithgow.
Yes. Who I believe is in Conclave right now. Oh, no, that's the actual Cardinals and things like that. But who was in Conclave. Phenomenal actor. And you are part of the family that brings John Lithgow to Amherst. His family connections, why he did a fundraiser for the library a year or so ago, why he came on our show.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, Jay, you're involved with the library. He's involved, like, in the board and things like that, right?
Yeah.
He's involved a lot. Amnesty International, too.
Well, Amnesty International as well.
That's great.
Whose idea was it for a fashion show?
Mine. Here, I thought, it's an easy way to run a fundraiser. Not easy. But one key part that hasn't been mentioned, I think is a really important thing to mention, is because we're so collaborative and with the theater group for 25 years, sometimes a theme will expand just because of a piece of improv that we do. And I'll go, oh, that was great. Okay, let's keep that. But with this, we're collaborating with 3 dress shops. With Zana, they're going to dress people. With The Closet in the Mill District, and with the Fisher Hospice Shop.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're all 3 working with us to really create some really fun designs. So we'll mix some theater in between. And we've another person through Amherst Community Theater has loaned about 15 wild, like spring hats that have been in a lot of musicals in the past.
Because Amherst Leisure Services at Amherst Community Theater does put on that yearly incredible musical. And if you've never gone to see it, you know, you'll go to it and be like, oh, community theater, a musical, how good is this going to be? I remember having this thought, going to see like The Wizard of Oz or something. How are they going to make the witch fly? Well, lo and behold, that witch flies. It is like the greatest community theater. I was
know.
Blown away
definitely.
by it. They do some good stuff. And we're talking about the Rainbow Players, who is having their Empowerment Through the Arts EDA fundraiser, fashion show, and gala this weekend. And we're with the founder, Azel Floranina, as well as members Wole Abiodun and Jay Lithgow.
Jay, I'm curious what you like best about being on stage. What do you like best about performing?
I like everything on stage. Just everything. I like dancing, singing, just everything on improv.
Wonderful.
Love the theater, love music, just everything.
Do you have
films?
do you have a favorite improv game that you play?
No, not really.
Yeah, just like them all.
I like them all.
I have it's Circle of Barbs. Everybody gets together, and then somebody do the scene, and then if you tap in, you tap in, and you do it. Someone do it, and then you tap in, and then
substitute in for the other person.
The next person, and every person comes out.
Cool.
Or you can sneak by like this, and
arm going by,
like
go
under
by.
people's arms.
Yeah, that way you know who's in, and somebody can come out. There's 2 kind of ways, anyways.
Tag team improv. It's pretty fun.
This grew out of we started this many years ago with a director named Chuck Mike from the New World Theater. Used to bring in theater groups from around the world, and he was doing this with groups in various countries in Africa to change the nature of female genital mutilation practices.
Wow.
And so the Circle Improv is about keeping the story going. It's not an improv where you just get to change. It's supposed to be kind of a seamless storytelling. So if someone taps in before you finish your sentence.
Yeah. You finish your sentence, and then the next person goes in, and then... Yeah, and that way you won't get stuck.
Right.
So,
Because the story has to continue and go on and on until...
It's like building community on stage, helping each other out, continuing the story. Maybe it's a metaphor.
I think maybe.
Well, let's take a quick little break here, and then we're going to hear more about EDA, Empowerment Through the Arts, as well as the Rainbow Players with the founder and 2 of the players after this.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. We are talking with EDA Arts and the Rainbow Players and artistic director and founder Azel Floranina, as well as company members Wole Abiodun and Jay Lithgow. They have a Shine celebration of brilliant fashion show with the gala with the Rainbow Players happening at UMass this weekend. And you're raising funds not only to continue to operate this program, but you have figured out how these players are now paid professional actors, right?
Yes, it's very important to me that they be seen. And in the title, you'll see it's not brilliance with a CE, it's brilliant with an S, that each person has a kind of brilliance within. And so in a mass, they're all brilliance plural. And so in order to really acknowledge that, then they need to also be paid. So I've been writing that into the various Arts Council grants and wherever we get funding, to also put in that budget item that they're paid. It's a stipend, it's not hourly, but many, even in regular companies, they're not being paid. It's tough, but it's really important because they tend to work in jobs that aren't very well paid in terms of a base salary.
Right. And then the state also requires for you to work under a certain amount of hours in order to maintain your benefits. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Can you talk a bit about I want to talk about the next event, but I'm curious what appealed about this particular style of theater and making community out of it?
Well, I've been doing, the Boal form of Theater of the Oppressed since 1984. That kind of dates me. I was in Vancouver. I lived in Canada for 15 years, and so studied that form of improv theater. So that was our first form. And then I introduced Circle Improv, which really brought the group together. It's very supportive around each other. And because it's dedicated to keeping the story going, but the Augusta Boal work is about the truth telling, and from your own experience. And so we have really not the only scripts. We've gone from your own stories around bullying and stuff like that to fairy tale stories to climate. We did a climate festival at the Hitchcock Center a couple of years ago. And it was a festival with the Expandable Brass Band was there and 4 other performing arts companies, puppet companies, and
That type of theater has a strong presence here in the Valley. I can think of several. We just had a theater on last week that's letting foster people and people involved in the foster system tell their stories. Double Edge Theater has grown out of the Theater of the Oppressed in some ways too. So it's an important way of telling these stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've worked with Priscilla and with Linda, the Double Edge Theater. Not Double Edge. I mean, I'm sorry. She used to be called. Now it's called Egg Tooth.
Oh yes, Linda McInerney. Maybe on the show later this week.
Oh, okay. all the friends.
We try to talk to all the cool people.
Yeah, right.
Cool.
What are you looking forward to dressing up like or as for this fashion show?
Are you in the fashion show?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
Do you know what you're going to be wearing, Wole?
I'll be wearing. I have a jacket, like a lion jacket kind of thing.
Oh, cool.
And I have that's part 1. Part 2, I have, and I can explain it.
Oh, the baseball jersey.
No.
That one.
No.
Oh, we do a cultural section.
Oh, neat.
So it's an
African.
It's African. It's.
That's where I'm from, by the way.
From which country?
Nigeria.
Oh, great.
Well, I was born there. I was the 3rd person born there, but.
In your family?
In my family.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Do you know what you're wearing, Jay?
I think a clown and an angel, I think.
Oh, wow.
But generally I like to dress up as anybody.
Me too.
They're different characters.
I love dressing up.
Cool.
Oh, yeah, you did something for the food drive.
Every year I do, yeah. At any port in a storm, I'll get ready to dress up in.
Well, I was going to finish after you finished talking, but I was going to say that Jay and I are going to be the old man.
You're the old man as part of the fashion show?
In the part of the show, yeah. He'll be part 1, I'll be part 2.
I love it.
Are you the oldest players in Rainbow Players? Are you the oldest actors?
Oh, that have been in. Oh, you mean age-wise?
Yeah.
We have a couple who are 72.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, and they'll don't want to give it away completely, but they're going to enter in their fiancé version, and they're getting dressed by Rosemary Kane.
Oh, wow.
Wonderful.
Another guest of the show,
Rosemary.
Harvest. Before we run out of time, tell us the details of where and when this event is happening.
Great. It's at the Kearney Family Auditorium, which used to be the old Marks Meadows School, so a lot of people would know it by that. And it's just Sunday afternoon at 2:30. There'll be a silent auction, lots of wonderful gifts and services being donated by town businesses. And just come ready to have some fun and see a different style of fashions. We're going to have like segments.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I love it. I love a good fashion show.
Yeah,
and there
I
hasn't
mean-
never
And
had
I
that.
love improv theater. What's not to like about this?
Fashion,
event?
right.
theater, supporting the arts, people telling their own stories.
Yes.
It's pretty great. And it's happening this Sunday at the old Mark Meadows School, which is now called the
Carney Family Auditorium.
Excellent. And have been speaking with the folks from Empowerment Through the Arts, EDA, and the Rainbow Players. Ezel Floranina is the artistic director and founder, and company members Wole Abiodun and Jay Lithgow. Say hi to your uncle from us.
And you can find out more information about both this event and the other things that the Rainbow Players get up to at eda-international.org.
On the next Fabulous 413, it's the third year of the East Hampton Film Festival, and it's bigger and better than ever.
We speak with organizer Chris Ferry about the festival's many offerings this year, including the highly anticipated locally grown and shot feature Tallywhacker. With that film stars Jerry McComber-Dubbs and Chris Goodwin and producer Rebecca McComber-Dubbs.
Plus, we'll head to a farm nestled right at the edge of Springfield and Chicopee that's slowly bringing agriculture and equity back to their neighborhood at Nordica Community Farm.
Even though it feels like you're driving into somebody's backyard when
Yes.
you're going there,
But
it's
then
super cute.
all of a sudden, they're grown
There's a
collard
whole
greens.
farm
Yes.
and a barn and things.
We leave you with the Gregory Brothers Double Rainbow song because we doubled up on the Rainbow Players and Northampton Pride this Saturday. I'm Monty Belmonte.
I'm Cleve Smith. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Fabulous 413.
That is the baddest rainbow I've ever seen.